Hi, my name is Cindy Rang with the Fabric Patch in Ephrata, Washington, and we are working on our Jaye's Bouquet block of the month, and today we're doing month number 4, hand embroidery block. All right, so everybody should have your pattern. If you don't, and you've just sort of been watching along and you feel like now you really do want to try it, I know that we still have these available at our shop. If you just go to fabricpatch.net, or there's a link below to the pattern and all of our other videos that we've already done. We've worked on block number 1, 2, 3, and we're starting block number 4. So we're doing our hand embroidery block, and then right after we get back from our Columbia River cruise, you will see our pieced block for number 4. And we're going to continue on for 12 months and end up with this fantastic project. And Corey is one of my favorite designers. I love her artwork. I love her aesthetic, and this is of course her fabric line. We do have some of the fabric left. We don't have any pre-cut kits left anymore, but you could certainly get some of her fabric, maybe some of the key pieces, and you can add your own. If you are piecing along with us with the kits that we've sent you, yours will end up looking exactly like this, which is exactly the way that she's shown it on her pattern. All right, so we are on block number 4 for the hand embroidery, and what's kind of nice is that she's done this really for a beginner. So all of even the pieced blocks are really simple. We're trying to teach you a couple of new fun things as we go along, but you could pretty much work ahead and probably not have too much trouble. Same thing with the hand embroidery blocks. Mostly it's fairly basic stitches with some back stitch, feather stitch, chain stitch. There are some French knots, a couple of things, and we've already covered all of those basic stitches in our first 3 blocks. We've also talked about quilter's knot, we've talked about separating threads, we've talked about a couple of kind of new fun stitches. I think we did the drizzle stitch last month. So this month what I'm going to do, since I don't have anything new to teach you to be able to make this fantastic block, I'm going to show you something kind of fun about our threads and how we can change the look of something just by changing the weight of thread. So let's go ahead and come over here to the work area. Okay, before I put this away, I just want to review. She does a close-up picture so you can really see all of the stitches close-up, which is really nice. She does talk about the exact threads that she uses, which we'll talk about in a second. And then this is the pieced block, which we're going to do in 2 weeks. And then this is the one that you will trace. So this is all of the hand stitching that we're doing, and she does describe the stitches that she suggests in terms of what she did, as well as the colors. So if you want yours to look exactly like hers, she tells you the colors that she's used, but really you could use a variegated dark green, you could use a purple, you could make it blue. You can really do whatever you'd like to do. And if you are like me, you probably have a box similar to this that has all of these weird threads in it, things that you've collected. So I have a couple. I have one like this that has sort of my large weight threads. And I have one like this that holds all of my DMC floss. And in previous classes, I've talked about how to organize your floss, how to pull off the right size strand, how to store those leftover pieces. And the other thing I'll point out is the Hugo tape. We'll link that below. But the Hugo tape is the tape that sticks only to itself. So if you don't want all of this going on in here, you can see that all you have to do is just pull off that Hugo tape. It sticks to itself but not to anything else, and it comes in 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch, or 1 inch. I really don't put it on these cards anymore, and again we've talked about that in a previous class. So when we have all of these, it's sort of nice to be able to use up leftovers and maybe decide if you want to add kind of a fun color or not. One thing I'm going to mention before I move this aside is that the little desiccants, the things that you get in your shoebox, I tend to put these whenever I have something that I have a little plastic box, just to be able to keep the plastic smell and any humidity out of there. So we're going to talk about thread weights, and I'm going to show you why or how you can make a different decision on whatever flower you'd like based on the weight of thread. So what I have right here, I just have a hank of, this isn't really, oh yeah, it's DMC, color number 3041, just a really pretty purple. And again, the way that I typically would store this is I would take this one off, slide this one to the center so that I know exactly the color. And then as I'm pulling things off of it, I would go ahead and I'll take this like this. And so I'm just going to pull 1, 2, and then I'm going to cut it right here, store it this way. This is the exact length of the thread that I would like. And so, and you really don't want to go any longer than that. We've talked about this before, that if you go any longer than that, that's when you're going to end up with knots in it. So you really do have to stick with about an 18 to a 22 inch strand of thread. This one is 6 strands, so I've left this without anything going on. This one is 2 strands, and this is a single strand. And again, just to show you, if you ever need to separate strands, the easiest way to do it is just to separate them all out, and you pull out just one at a time. Any one you want, it absolutely is not going to matter. Just grab one, and when you grab it, you just pull it out. And as you pull it out, nothing will happen. It doesn't knot, it doesn't do anything. You just get one perfect strand. And if what you wanted to do was to do 2 strands, I just want to show you, if I start to pull 2, watch what happens. It's going to knot. Oh, fine. First time ever. Did I get, oh, it's because I only got one. So there was one. But if I try pulling 2 out at once, there's 1. And here we'll pull these 2 that are together. See, there's 4 left there. If I pull these 2 out, there it knotted. It made it that far, and it turned into this knot. I could kind of keep pulling, but then what's going to happen is something is going to break. So that's why we just pull 1 at a time. And if I wanted this to be 2 strands, I'm going to take these 2 individual ones that I pulled out, and I'm going to put them together. And then once I put them together, what I like to do is just go ahead and twist them a little bit, just to go ahead and kind of keep them together. And then we're ready to go. And so that's what this is. So I've got 6 strands, 2 strands, 1 strand. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do a couple of stitches here, maybe just some French knots in these weights. And then I'm going to come back and we're going to talk about it a little bit more. Okay, so what I did, one thing I want to mention is that for the 6 strand, I don't think I mentioned this in the beginning, I tend to use a size 7 embroidery needle just because that's what fits my short hands really well. But for a size 7 embroidery needle, you're not really going to be able to manage 6 strands. So I had to go to a size 5 for this one. But if you look at these up close, what you'll see is that 6 strands with a French knot, those are pretty humongous, really nice. It would make really quick work of something if you really needed to do some decoration. And then these are just some quick little lazy daisy stitches with your 6 strand. This is the 2 strand, so you can see the difference with the French knots here and the lazy daisy stitch. And these little babies right here are 1 strand. Now the other thing that I was going to say, and I probably should have just showed you while I was doing this, but with 1 strand, you really have an opportunity to make it a fairly tight stitch or a little bit of a looser stitch. And I think I sort of did that automatically because I'm going to mention all of these were 3 wraps. So this was a 3 wrap French knot with 6 strand, 3 wrap French knot with 2 strands, 3 wrap with one strand, but you can do it a little bit looser. Your other option is to do more wraps. The other thing I want to mention is that when you're only doing one strand, boy, it is a fine line, so you can see absolutely everything. Whereas when you're doing kind of a bolder line, like with these 6 strands, you can be a little bit more loosey-goosey and it's going to be all right. So what I would suggest is just, I love having my little practice hoop here so I can practice a couple stitches, decide if I really want to do lines, because that's one other thing too that I tend to do, not with ink. I do tend to use my friction marker, but I usually, if I'm doing something, I do like to start with some lines just so that I know, how far out my lazy daisy stitches are going and exactly where my French knots are going to be. And of course, that's what's really nice, because when you have a pattern that you're following, you know exactly what it is that you're doing and you're staying within that designated line that you're doing. So anyway, so this is kind of a fun thing. You can just practice a little bit with some of those fun threads that you have and see what you want to use up, because let's look up close at our block. All right, because if you look up here up close, you can see we really do have some single strand stitches in here, single strand up here. So if you're doing single strand fly stitches, single strand chain stitches, it just sort of changes the look of things a little bit, gives you a little fine definition in your flower. You can really change that up a little bit depending upon what it is that you want to put in there. So, all right, so have fun playing with your stitches, get your whatever colors you'd like, whatever threads you'd like, work on your embroidery block, and in 2 weeks we're going to do our pieced block for block number 4. Thank you for watching our video. We invite you to leave a comment, hit the like button, or better yet, subscribe to our channel so you never miss an episode. You can also visit our Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, or Pinterest pages, or find all of those things and our online store at fabricpatch.net.